All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being.
Recorded.
I want to thank you all for being here. I apologize for the delay and the technical difficulties that we have experienced today, which is highly unusual. But I want to thank you for your patience. I know that we had a lot of folks who signed up, and many of them have dropped off because of the technical challenges, but we will reschedule. We will do this presentation again. I want to again thank you, Antoine Thompson, Greater Washington Region, Plain Cities. I don't know what happened, but we will make sure that this glitch does not happen again. So I'm not sure what went wrong, but let's get it going. Want to just get right into it. We One of the big things that our office is working on uh, is Greater Washington Region Clean Cities is trying to make sure that we deploy more EV chargers in there with some of our partners and city, state, and local government. Let me just, if you give me 1 second, at my phone is I'm getting text messages, emails. Folks are um, trying to reach out to me about this thing here. Um, we're going to press someone. So let me thank you all for being here. Let me just get right into this. So again, Greater Washington Region Clean Cities, we are a nonprofit organization. We focus on clean energy, clean transportation. And so the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Project is a program funded by U.S. Department of Energy. Our focus is to get EV charging in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. And we want to make sure we get, this program has also a big focus on disadvantaged communities as well. But it can go to other areas beyond other areas as well. And so we do, with this particular program, one of the big focuses is, as I mentioned, is around public charging. And so we help subsidize with federal support, um, EV charging installation in on both public and private property. But the key for that is making sure that it is accessible. And EV charging is really important as we try to increase uh, the usage of electric vehicles. One of the biggest things that people fear is not being able to charge their electric vehicle. And I know we have a number of EV drivers on this particular call. So I'm going to get right into it. If Let me see if I can share my screen here. No, if you can allow me to share my screen, that would be great. I just have a couple slides for you all. And can you all see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me go back to Zoom. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Uh, all right. Y'all can see my screen now? Okay. So just really briefly, just share just a little bit about our organization. We've been around 31 years this year, actually, and we are one of 75 plus clean city organizations that span from here to Hawaii. And we're a membership-based organization. And I see a few of our members on today. Thank you for being with us. I hope you all voted today. Um, you know, voting is important. We can't tell you who to vote for here, but we definitely encourage you to vote. I don't know if our announcement reminding people to vote went out today, but make sure you vote. So again, I mentioned that there are over 75 Plain City organizations from here to Hawaii, and many of us work on different projects. Um, and so one of the many projects that we work on deals with electric vehicles. Actually, today I was meeting a hydrogen meeting, hydrogen hub that they're trying to bring. Been working on that for about almost 2.5 2 years. And we work on other projects. So electrification is really important. And so many clean city organizations, we work on all these different fuel related projects, alternative fuels, workforce development, um, environmental justice. We do consulting and a whole host of other things. So let's get into the MAEP program. Yes. So the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership. Sometimes I use the word project, but it's a partnership. And this is a federally funded project with financial support from both the public and private sector. A number of private sector entities are involved with the project. And it's a 3-year grant, really now 4-year, funded by the Department of Energy. And we cover a number of things beyond just throwing chargers in the ground. So we're concerned about community education. So we do ride and drives. We do advocacy, trying to make sure that local and state governments make it easier to get these chargers in the ground so that as people buy electric vehicles, that it's more favorable in an environment that's more encouraging for EV drivers. We also help businesses not only get customers, but people look at this as a very important business segment. So we do a lot of that. We also try to get people jobs in the industry as well. One of our big things is around community engagement and really trying to make sure that the communities understand the benefits of EV charging, the health benefits, the environmental benefits, the economic benefits. So all of those are a lot of things that we do. Now, one of the other big things that we've worked on with this project is trying to make sure that certain corridors in DC, Maryland, and West Virginia, that there's access to charging. We were very successful in putting 100 Lyft rideshare vehicles at the BWI airport. That was a long process, but we were able to get that done. And BGE, the electrical company, they were a partner with on that with Hertz, and that worked out. That worked out very, very, very well. So one of the, as I mentioned earlier, one of the big things that we need you all's help is trying to make sure that we have there are 3 different type of chargers. This particular program focuses on 2 different chargers. The level 2 charger, which I'm sure everyone on this call knows about, and then the level 3 charger. And so the level 2 chargers, we're deploying them all over DC, Maryland, and West Virginia. And then we're also doing level 3s as well. Prior to this year, uh, um, in we really focus on level 2s everywhere else, and level 3s only in DC. Because we have money that hasn't been spent. now we're looking at sites for level 3 and level 2. So that's really important to note. So if you know of places where we can where you can recommend a site for that, and we'll and that really is it could be on both public or private property. We have a form you just fill out, which should be in the chat that you can fill out. It takes only a couple of minutes. And that really requires the site host to kind of drive that process. The process really is about 6 months, 6 months or so, depending on how fast the site host moves, right? So for this particular project, there are two companies that we primarily work with. Other companies can possibly now get, if they have chargers that are in the area, we have to work with our uh, project administrator from Virginia. But so we help subsidize, excuse me, the feds help subsidize the installation. And our primary project partners for this particular program for the last couple of years has been GreenSpot and Blink. And they're not on today, but when the way the process works, you fill out the form which says I want to put a charger at 123 ABC Street. Uh, you identify who the owner is of the property, their address of the property, the owner of the property, the phone number of that person, and their email. And then we then forward that information to um, either Blink or GreenSpot. They will then follow up with you within like a few weeks, and that will get the broad process rolling. They do a site assessment. They'll look at the site to determine whether or not it meets the programmatic needs and their needs as well. There will be paperwork that you will have to fill out. We don't really get involved in negotiating the terms of your of the host agreement. So you would become a site host, or you're the person or organization, whether public or private, would be a site host. But one of the big things about that is they do allow for a revenue share, meaning you can get a percentage of the revenue from putting the EV chargers in there. And it's not a whole lot of money at this point, at least for level 2 chargers right now. It's approximately $1,100 to $1,500 a month, depending on the location. I mean, a year. Some people say 3,000, but I would say it ranges from 1,500 to 3,000 a year in terms of net revenue that you would be able to collect on a level 2 site. Of course, that number will go up, but as more and more people drive electric vehicles, that can be really more helpful for you. You'll get more revenue. And so one of the things that has always come up with this particular program is, making sure as I mentioned, we don't negotiate the contracts between you and the two companies that we work with and some of the other kind of ancillary companies. But what we do is encourage, you can always call us and say, what do you think about that? We're not attorneys, but we can let you know that um, everything in these contracts are negotiable, whether it's fees, whether it's the length of the contract, everything is negotiable. And that's one of the things we'll always tell you. So, so again, the key element is one is making sure you fill out the form, make sure you fill it out correctly. Two is making sure that the owner understands that this EV charger must be on accessible to the public without barriers 75% of the time, 365 days a year. So that's another key of it. One, as other mentioned earlier, one of the other keys is making sure that we put these in rural areas in Maryland. and Virginia and West Virginia. Some are in cities. There are a number of sites that we're trying to get across the finish line in Washington, D.C. And we're open to rideshare vehicles as well, and taxis as well. There are some tools that we use um, as well. We have an Argon mapping tool that helps us determine different locations in underserved areas. As well, we can work with churches. So if you have a church, you have an environmental organization, you have a college, university, if there's an apartment building, senior center, a nursing home, all those are great sites for EV chargers, supermarkets and plazas, right? We do those. We like to get those in as many um, department stores, shopping centers, hospitals, all those hotels, transit. We've been trying to get them in more of them at transit stations as well. So there are a lot of different places where we can get those chargers installed. So it's really, really important. And also, if you want, we can come out for ride and drives, right? For that part of community education. So ride and drives, we have them either as we'll bring electric vehicles, let people in the community go for a ride in them, or we can come do what they call as a static showcase. We come bring the vehicles out, people can sit in them, they just can't drive them around. So we and sometimes we have it where it's a ride and drive, but we'll drive you or someone will drive you around. Um, or or you can or we'll allow you to drive. Either one of those. So those are always really important because over 90% of the people in our area don't own electric vehicles. Probably 75% of them never been in an electric vehicle. So it's having ride and drives at your church, your community organization, public events are really important. Last Saturday, we were out in Northern Virginia and Alexandria at an event, and there were a ton of electric vehicles out there. And so this Friday we'll be at an event in Northern Virginia as well, another part in Fairfax on Friday, talking about electric vehicles, EV charging, and then we'll also have some vehicles out there for you to look at, some for you to drive as well. So I'm gonna stop sharing there. And so I wanted to just talk with you just a little bit about some of the opportunities from the program and how you can be helpful for us. So one thing that I hear a lot when I'm out talking about getting EV chargers in there is some people just have basic questions about electric vehicles. They're thinking about it, they're interested in it. So we also offer, as part of this program, an EV 101 workshop. So if you want us to come speak before a group, we have a couple of nice presentations that we put on um, for folks. We do them in the daytime, we do them at night, we'll do them on weekends. So EV 101 is really important just to help people understand about that. And then also help people understand, about electric vehicle charging, that it won't burn down your house, that electric vehicles won't burn down your house as well. The cost for EV, electric vehicle charging when it's done at home is cheaper than buying gasoline. And so that's a really important component of it. The other big important component of this program is us just kind of being out there, letting people know about the charging as we're doing today. So we do a lot of tabling. So if there are events that you want us to come out and share information, so that we can get more people to sign up, we have about 100 or so of these left that we have to get deployed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. So we need your help in getting them deployed. And so that's really important. We meet with our project partners on a pretty much on a biweekly basis, one way or the other. We're constantly trying to get these chargers across the finish line. So remember, it's level 2, right, and level 3. So Miss uh, Jackie, you know how fast this level 2 charger goes? How
No,
long?
I
How long
don't.
it take?
I
How
I
long it
need the
takes?
class. I
Huh?
need the class.
What was that?
I need the workshop.
You need the workshop?
Yes, I
Okay.
don't know.
No problem, no problem. We're going to do that workshop. We'll get that workshop going sometime in June. What about Allison? Allison Pierce, do you know how long it takes to charge a car with a level 3 charger?
Oh my goodness, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's all right. That's all right. I know Dino knows how long it takes to charge a level 3 charger, right?
Yes, I do.
How long
Yeah.
is, tell him, share the answer, Dino.
So from say you go from 20% to 80%, you can do it in about 20 minutes with 150 kilowatt level 3 charger, and faster if it's a higher kilowatt. So there are variances even in level 3s in terms of the charging, but much faster. And just real quickly, that's what you generally see when you go to a Tesla charging operation. Is generally a supercharger, and they're very fast as opposed to a level 2.
Yes. So thank you for sharing that.
You
So everyone, so a couple things I want you to know why all this matters. So right now there is a $7,500 rebate at point of sale for certain model electric vehicles that can help people with buying an electric vehicle. Every electric vehicle is not a Tesla. There are a lot of different models and brands. Some of them qualify for the $7,500 rebate at the point of sale at the dealership. Some of them don't. More vehicles qualify for the $4,000 rebate as well on a used car. Think about it, you get $4,000 off on buying a used car that's electric. So, and I think that one may also include hybrid, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe it does. And so it's $4,000, and you can get that at point of sale. Why all this matters is that uh, the federal government, a lot of local and state governments are trying to get more and more people to use electric vehicles because of the health benefits. And so our challenge is to make sure that we share that information because every time I am out, I am amazed at how many people do not know that they can get a rebate on an electric vehicle, right, at point of sale. So there's also, um, if you're thinking about getting an EV charger at a location, and it's a private business, and even a public business, there are some, they can use this program, they can use other state and local incentives as well that towards the installation of EV charging that's available to the public. So that's really important to know because a lot of times folks may say, well, how much does your program cover for a level 2? So it may subsidize up to $3,500 or $7,500, but then people can stack that with other federal and state incentives. And there's a website that I'm going to put in the chat as well. It's called the Alternative Fuel Data Center website. And that will help you. That it's not a perfect website, but it does list a lot of the different incentives that are out there for uh, passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, also some of the local, state, and federal incentives to help you with purchasing an electric vehicle, but also installing EV charging. So I'm going to end by saying this. Separate from this program, one of the things that our office is doing that we're pushing really hard on. Is separate from this program, but it relates to this program. It's interrelated. So we're hosting next week a workshop on accelerating EV charging at local gas and fueling stations. And why that matters is in whether it's DC, Maryland, or Virginia, DC is the situation is even more severe. Most people will not be able to charge at home because they live in either an apartment building or condo building, or they may live in a single family home where they're not going to be able to put a charger in their garage, electric vehicle charger. So this is why the government is really pushing to make sure that we get charging all over the place. Because there are literally hundreds of gas stations around. And so we're working to try to only get these at restaurants and coffee shops and shopping centers, supermarkets, community centers, senior buildings. But we're also trying to get gas stations to look at putting level 3 chargers at their places as well, because gas stations are rapidly becoming obsolete. And so as that happens, well, where's that going to leave our family and friends, and as people purchase, move into new apartments and things of that nature. We're working night and day to try to get more chargers in these places. So anything that we can do to help you get chargers deployed, we're here to do it. And I just want to thank you all for being here today. And I see that we have some questions, and I see a lot of folks ready. And I'll take any questions. Any questions for me? Any questions? And I don't see the form in the chat. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to populate the chat with the form. I don't know why it's not up, but I'm going to do that. Give me 1 second, everybody. I don't know what's going on tonight, but just give me 2 seconds, okay? So if you go to our website we have, I can't see. Kathy has her hand raised. Okay. Kathy, you can unmute yourself. For some reason, I can't see you.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't, something happened to my chat line. I couldn't get anything in. But I want to warn people, I bought a EV, a 2020 used Leaf, and I found out that I made too much money to take the 4,000 federal tax rebate, which is okay. That's all right. I'll live with it. And you got to make sure that if this is a used EV, make sure it's under 25,000 that you're paying for it, because then if it goes over, then you don't get any of that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
So-
right. That's right. So definitely make sure there are some income thresholds and that you have to adhere to. And there's also some pricing thresholds for those vehicles. Generally speaking, and we cover a lot of that in the EV 101 workshop. But so when we do that workshop, we'll come back and we'll talk about some of those things to be careful with about as
And
well.
also, I wanted to mention, be careful of using level 3 charging. You don't want to do that a whole lot, because that'll deplete the life of your battery quicker. And if you're doing level 3, go into maybe 80 or 100%. Try to make sure you use it right away. That way the electrons get moving, space for them to move around in that battery. So just, I learned some stuff on Facebook Leaf group that I'm on.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent. Any other questions or comments for folks? Any questions or comments? So I did put in the chat the link to the page, and you can either register for a level 2 or a level 3 charger on that page. Okay, so please share that information. We can come out. We can if you have a group or organization you want us to present for, we can do that as well. And that's pretty much it for tonight. I want to thank you all for coming out. Um, I think I do have a couple of announcements. If you bear with me 1 second. I do have some announcements. I know I was running my mouth earlier, but if you give me 2 seconds, I will just have my announcements. All right, just give me 1 second here. All right. Okay. So just a couple quick announcements. So we will have a Environmental Justice Summit coming up on June 20th. But before we get to that, we will have on June 13th, we have our monthly industry meeting. That will take place on Zoom. We have different speakers giving us industry updates. So that's June 13th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then June 20th, we'll have our Environmental Justice Summit and Environmental Energy and Transportation Justice Summit at Howard University. So we're looking forward to that as well. We also have the Ron Flowers Annual Scholarship golf outing. I see my buddy Aisha on here, so I know she's bringing her a whole team of folks to play. And I hope that Dino and all the rest of you who are on here will come play golf with us. We will have a golf clinic as well for the novice golfers like myself. And it includes lunch too. So you'll have a great time. Last couple things I wanted to mention. I don't see our conference date on here, so I don't want to get that confused. But I will say, if you're not a member of the organization, please become a member as well. Yes, there is a recording. Allison, you can go to YouTube, LinkedIn, or as well. So you'll be able to see that on there. Oh, she already responded to it. Okay, thanks. All right. Well, I have been talking all night. So I want to thank you all. We will have we do these once a month. We also have EV 101 generally every other month. So one of those will be coming up. And I appreciate Kathy sharing some of her EV experiences. You do have like any new technology. It's just like when you got that cell phone years ago, you had to learn, right? Some of you are old school like me, when I used to use they had a typewriter, then we had a keyboard, right? And then we went to computer and everything you had to learn. And some of you don't realize, probably forgot when you had that dot matrix printer, you stuff print all over the page. Now we got laser printers. So we always got to keep learning. And so the same thing with electric vehicles. We got to just keep on learning and learning and learning and learning, So years ago, we used to put the key in the door. Some people still do that. Most of us use remote keys. So, power steering, and now we, all that good stuff. So, well, further, you all have a great night. Look forward to seeing you at our next event. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.